We've got you covered all season long. Welcome to the BCSN Nation podcast.
Here it is. Welcome to the BCSN Nation podcast. We're back. It is season 3, brought to you, of course, by Buffalo Wild Wings. I know you missed this, Justin.
Let's go sports bar.
Yes, sir.
Of course, Brandon Carnes here with Justin Feldkamp, and he's back. It's football season. He's ready to go. Coach Mike Robb, welcome back. Gentlemen, football season is here. We're excited. We're ready to go. But what are you most excited for? Mike Robb, welcome back. What you ready for?
You know, first and foremost, I'm just excited to be back here with you guys.
Oh,
shucks.
shucks.
Look, every Wednesday, talking high school football, it doesn't get better than this. And especially with the teams that we have coming back and the talent and the coaches in this area. So I'm super excited for high school football this year.
Mike's ready to go. Justin, what are you ready for?
I like that we'll be able to get some answers to some questions, some off-season questions. Here's 3 of them for you. Can Central still be dominant with a brand new starting offensive line? Can Grant Kitty, Brady Ford, and Mason HeInschel go from good to great? And can Southview, Oak Harbor, Lima Senior, Ottawa Hills defend their outright league titles?
Man, Justin's here giving teases. All right, it's a full preview show of the high school football season. We're going to take a look at all the leagues in the area and, of course, another BCSN era athlete and our game of the week preview. Make sure you're here every single Wednesday, 4 p.m. for brand new episodes of the BCSN Nation podcast, or go anywhere you listen to your podcast, Spotify, Apple, Amazon, we're anywhere, we're everywhere, or bcsnnation.com/podcast. And make sure you hit the follow button, Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, everywhere. But we're going to save all that for later. We'll talk more about where the heck to find us, but we're starting in the big leagues. It's the NLL, the biggest conference in the area, Buckeye, Cardinal. You teased it a little bit. We'll start with the Buckeye, Justin. Talk to me about the top of the Buckeye, the guys, the players, the coaches.
Yeah, all right. So Findlay, Whitmer, Perrysburg, Anthony Wayne. Those have been the clear-cut top 4 tiered guys, in my opinion, and teams in our area. We had a 3-way tie for the title last year. That very well could become somewhat of a norm. Maybe not 3-way tie, but
Sure.
I don't see outright titles every single year in this Buckeye or maybe even the Cardinal division. We saw an outright title by Southview in the Cardinal division last year, but all 4 of these teams, Findlay, Whitmer, Perrysburg, Anthony Wayne, playoff teams last year. All 4 of them have solid returning starting quarterbacks. Some of them had shorter playoff runs than what they would have liked to expect, especially from the fan base there. But I think some changes have come, at least to one particular team in Whitmer, in regards to some offensive schemes and the personnel and the coaching staff there. But I like what Findlay has in Ryan Montgomery. I mean, Georgia Bulldog commit.
We could talk ad nauseum about Ryan Montgomery.
Baylor Wilkin as well with Indiana commit up on the offensive line. And I like what Coach Stephen Adams said, and what he expects Ryan Montgomery to do is to, quote, master the offense this season. So I like what Findlay has done, and I like what Whitmer has done. The fun and gun, Steve Spurrier-inspired new offensive scheme for Coach Pat Gachardo, who was on our BCSN team, went back to the coaching ranks. He's the new co-offensive coordinator there, but they are loaded with talent at the quarterback position, a stable of running backs. They got Carter Lowe up front. They got Napoleon Jemison on the defensive linebacking core. I think the key word Whitmer should win the Buckeye, but they're going to be challenged throughout the entire season.
All right, Mike, who is the team that challenges Whitmer? We got the big should on the beginning of that. Who's the team that's making the push? Is Findlay, Anthony Wayne, are they co-champs again, or are we taking somebody right out?
I think, Whitmer obviously is the favorite. I mean, if Whitmer doesn't win the league outright, like I thought they should have last year, I mean, I just don't know. I mean, there's so much talent over there. These guys are good, and they loaded up with the all-star coach and Pat Gachardo.
Amen.
That offense should be on fire this year, especially with Carter Lowe anchoring that offensive line. But you can't forget the Georgia commit. Down in Findlay, Ryan Montgomery and that offense are going to be electric. Right. And you saw what they did with the 5-wide spread set. He torched teams. He was able to get the ball out. Now, if they can find a little bit of running game, I think that Findlay could potentially rival Whitmer for this outright title. But it's going to be tough because a lot of, like you said, these 3 teams are going to knock each other off. Perrysburg, Whitmer.
The battle of attrition.
Yes, and then Anthony Wayne is always the dark horse team.
Yes.
For whatever reason. I don't count them out.
Grant Kinney, a star under center for Anthony Wayne. You talked about Findlay. Losing Hill and Best at wide receiver are going to be a huge question mark for Montgomery. Where is he going to distribute the ball to?
Oh, he'll get slide. It out.
We're not worried about if he's going to make completions. We're worried about who's catching those.
Reese Little.
Mike Robb says Reese Little not going to be a small factor for Finley. There you like the wordplay. Now we'll go to the Cardinal division. All right, Southview outright champs in the first year of the Cardinal division. It looks like they're ready to go for a run back at that title.
Yeah, I think Southview, Napoleon, Fremont, Ross, and then Clay. I think all of those 4 teams have a shot. It was tight. A lot of those teams played very close games throughout the regular season in division play last year. I do want to make one more note about Whitmer. Yes, they have the potential, but they played Dublin, Kaufman, and Central Catholic weeks 1 and 2. They could be 0-2 against non-conference teams, but there's plenty of room for growth beyond weeks 1 and 2, but still worth noting there. Southview 8-4, lost in the second round to Olmsted Falls by a touchdown in the playoffs. They do bring back Will Mazies. They need some more depth. Coach Hardy telling me, but he likes that he has Andrew Young, a middle linebacker, back to lead the defense. Napoleon 6-6 last year, lost to Glenville, the eventual state champs, in the second round. They lost to Defiance 3 years in a row. They play them in week 1.
Looking to change it, yep.
Trey Rubenstein, one of my all-time favorite players from last year, and I think that he has the capability to do it again this year. Wide receiver, defensive back, hybrid linebacker situation for him. He's a Kent State commit. He's fun to watch. Owen Espinosa gathered some great on-field playing time last year at quarterback. Parker Woods is back for Napoleon. I think they need their line, offensive and defense to improve. Fremont Ross, I think they could be an up-and-coming team.
Tough
They got
win.
a ton. Yes, that's right. Their mantra.
Mantra, baby. I love it.
They got 14 of 22 starters back, and they had a ton of young guys play last year. Naturally, that kind of led to 7 losses. But when you get that experience with a lot of sophomores and juniors, they can grow up quickly and then use that experience for their junior and senior years. And their offensive line is going to be big, averaging 285 plus pounds along the line.
Some big fellas.
And then Carson Caden, baseball player and a pitcher. He's their quarterback. I think he's another guy who could go from good to great.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right, Southview, I gotta ask, because they graduated 29 seniors. As a coach, how do you look to replace the leadership of darn near 30 seniors on a team?
You hope that you got 30 guys to replace them.
All right, fair point.
Football is tough. I mean, it's tough with numbers these days. A lot of programs are struggling to keep those numbers up. But when you have a class like that led by Isaac Sexton, you knew that was going.
Guys,
and all the, that was the class that they were looking for, and they kept them together from 8th grade all the way through senior year, and you see the success they had. But for Southview, this is going to definitely be a rebuild type of year. They're going to win games, but they're going to rebuild on that new turf. But the team to beat,
here it is.
In my opinion,
the prediction.
Who's going to beat Clay? Who's going to come out and
Heinzel
slow
and
down
Hazuda.
Clay? Because what Mason Heinzel did last year to a lot of football teams is just create magic. He's a magician.
Yes,
he pulls a rabbit out of his hat. He can rush for 2,500 yards and throw for it. So I'm excited to see a special year.
That's the NLL.
Yeah, I think Mason Heinzel, maybe in some ways, I teased at the beginning, going from good to great. He's at least exceeded good. He's a Pittsburgh commit
he's
as well.
He's a D1 commit.
And yes, magician out of the pocket. His footwork is terrific. He can elude pass rushers and still keep his eyes downfield, which not every high school quarterback can do.
Incredibly impressive.
But I do think, they lost 7 games last year. They went 4-7 with a lot of the same guys. They don't have Jacob Sauerback. He's off to Central Michigan.
Yeah, lost Hayden Cantu
so
as well.
I think, yes, you can have some skill position players who are elite or great or above average, but I think they need some protection up front. I think they need some defensive work as far as putting pressure on the quarterback when they're on defense. So, yes, they have the talent, and yes, Mason Heinzel is a type of special player who can get you a win or lead you on a fourth quarter drive and pull out a win kind of thing. But I still think football is not a one-man show kind of thing. So I think
I agree.
I think that this Cardinal division goes down to week 10, just like it did last year when we had a de facto championship game between Napoleon at Southview.
Yep.
This time it's the other way around, but Clay, Fremont, Ross, both in the mix as well.
All right, we got plenty more previews to get to, but we got bills to pay. So we'll be right back after a 30-second spot from our sponsor, Buffalo Wild Wings.
Buffalo Wild Wings, buy one, get one free. Boneless Thursdays saved me so much cash. I can finally do everything I've ever wanted in life, like skydiving. You ready? No, this was a mistake, a huge mistake. I want to go back. Go, go, go! Yeah, I'll probably just use the money I saved to get more buy one, get one free boneless wings at B-Dubs. No brainer. Buffalo Wild Wings. Let's go sports bar.
At participating locations, not valid with other offers or discounts. See website or app for details.
Let's go sports bar, and let's go from the 419 to the 313, the Catholic High School League, second year for the Catholic teams in Toledo, Central Catholic, St. John's, St. Francis. You talked about at the beginning, 31-game win streak for the Irish. They're looking to keep that going. Can they three-peat? Can they win another CHSL title?
I think they have the possibility. The coaches in that league picked them to repeat in many cases, especially at the high school level. It's somewhat of a de facto situation unless you are completely gutted by graduation, where if you won last year, you're going to be picked again to win the next year kind of thing. But they do have Victor Singleton. They do have Preston Frizel. I got some questions at quarterback and figuring out that situation. But they have arguably the best coaching staff in the area. I know Coach Mike Robb will agree with me. Greg Dempsey, Ryan Brown, Chad Hunter-Brinker, and a host of others as well. They find a way to get the job done year in and year out, and they take what is on their roster, design schemes and plans and play calls around that. So they will be tested in the first 3 weeks, though, with Findlay, Whitmer, and Detroit Catholic Central. So those 3 games will give them an eye-opening look at where do we need to improve. They don't start with any cupcakes like some college football teams.
Yeah. So the big thing in year 2.
Was that a shot? Was that a
the
shot
big thing in year 2 for me is how does St. John's and St. Francis bounce back, right? 4-7 for St. John's last year, 1-9 for St. Francis. 6 head coaches in 5 seasons for the Knights. Josh Linke stepping in, looking to keep that thing going the right direction. How does St. John's and St. Francis readjust now to the second year in CHSL?
Well, I just want to make a tap on Central. They're going to repeat as state champion.
Calling the three-peat right now. He doesn't care that they lost all 5 offensive linemen.
I'm going to
restart.
I don't make these assessments until I go out and see a team play. I went to go watch them versus Troy. I saw some clips from Hoban. They got a pretty good defense. They're still good on the back half with Kevin Arnold leading that safety and Desmond and Deron Flowers. No relation there with them two, but those 2 guys are really good. And obviously we got Victor Singleton. But their offense and defensive line, they're young, but they're big. It's like back when Mark Nave and those guys were sophomores. That's what it's like again. They also got an injection of a lot of good players.
So by the time they get to be seniors, we got a 6-peat rolling.
And for my Whitmer fans, you'll be without one this year. You'll be without Coach Brown on the defensive side because now he is coaching safeties at Toledo Central Catholic starting at August 1st. So the coaching staff gets better, the rich get richer, and this team, they are solid. And I think they'll be good. But speaking on St. Francis quickly, I like what Josh Linke is doing already. He is doing a great job. They got Eli Bill from Springfield, one of the best football players in the NLL, and his 2,000-yard rusher. This kid is electric. That Perrysburg game is going to be something to see. Jermaine Polk up front, he is dominant too. And Corey Schwartz, he'll be back. He's healthy this year. And Raheem Brown as well. So that team is really, really good. And then for St. John's, obviously they got a quarterback situation over there. They're trying to figure out who's going to be the guy. But I think both of them feel comfortable about being 1A, 1B, or however they see it. But St. John's is another young team that's got a lot of good talent. I'm looking forward to see them play week 1. I didn't get the chance to see them scrimmage, so I don't have the greatest opinion of them, but I know what Coach Mack does, and he plays defense. And if you're going to beat St. John's, you're going to have to be able to score a lot of points.
Yeah, I like what I saw out of St. John's. They got 7 starters back on defense, but only 7 starters back on offense, but only 1 on defense. I'll give a little charge to Aaron Lovett. Go be dominant. He's such a big dude when it comes to his physique. Go be dominant offensively and defensively. Coy Hammock and Carson Polowitz, the 2 quarterbacks that you mentioned. And then Coach Josh Linke. I mean, here's the conga line of coaches that St. Francis has had. Straight up, it's been a disaster situation.
It's like that Browns jersey that you see.
All the quarterbacks. So since 2020, including 2020, Dan Chipka, Bruce Gradkowski, Mike Blakowski, Charles Woolridge, Jim Eberle, and now Josh Linke. That's 6 coaches in 5 years. I think, based on my knowledge of Coach Linke, that this could be the stopping point, if you will, of the rotation of head coaches. I think he's in there for the long haul. They were 1-9 last year. I think St. Francis, they're playing in the 2nd-tier division within the CHSL. I think they can make some noise in there. I'm going to connect last year to this year. I think St. Francis could be similar to Maumee. Maumee went from the NLL to the NBC, went 5-5, just missed out on the playoffs. I think that St. Francis can take some significant steps forward. They've done a lot in the offseason. So there's plenty of challenges and obstacles ahead for them. But I like Corey Schwartz. I think he's got to improve his pass completion rate.
Yes.
I think it was at 43%. But they need some better O-line play as well. But I like Raheem Brown too.
The consummate professional, Justin Feldkamp, an inadvertent potentially transition into our next segment, right? We're going right to the NBC. Just talked about Maumee, the big bounce back. Or actually, we're going to City League. I lied. I'm getting too excited. You talked about Maumee. I'm ready to go.
We like it.
I was thinking about that Jersey hype video they made. I was ready to roll. City League. All right, we got a lot of first and second year head coaches in the City League. Aaron Peacock of Waite, the lone exception to that first and second year spot. Lima Sr. looking to repeat, start looking to take that crown back. It really feels like a battle of the Spartans up on the top and to see who's going to take third.
Yeah, and being a former head coach in the City League, it's very tough, coaching in that conference. It's a lot of moving parts as far as players, coaches, and everything. So it's a lot of respect for the coaches in the City League because it's not really just about football. They're doing all the work as far as sometimes picking kids up, doing the parent work. So the kids out in Sylvania's or in Perrysburg and the other leagues where the coaches don't have to worry about their
Off
kids
the field
eat,
stuff as much,
did
right?
they eat dinner last night? Did they do this? Do they have somewhere to go? So these coaches, they sometimes get tasked with a bigger job than just coaching football. And that's what my role was as a head coach. I found myself coaching less football, but more so being a mentor to these young men in hope that they graduate and do those things. But as far as Spartans, this team is real deal. Preston Edwards, he's been getting it done. I watched St. Francis scrimmage against the Spartans, and Spartans actually won that scrimmage. Marvon Thompson, first team All-State type of kid.
Okay.
If he can get it together, this is a Division I football player. 100%. And you look on the outside, Jonah Tall, we saw him come on the scene last year with a lot of touchdowns. And forget what game it was, like week 6. He had like 3 or 4 touchdowns when the running back got hurt. He's back, and I watched how explosive they are. So this Spartan team, they got so much talent. Waite's old quarterback from last year is now over there. They are looking good, man. I think the Spartans are going to be the team to beat.
I like those picks. I think we could have the Spartan showdown for the outright title.
Like week 10 of last year.
I'll give you a Bowser, though. I like what I've seen out of Coach Alvin Brown. Reasons for optimism. Yes, 2-8 last year, but they got Jordan Singer back at quarterback. They have increased depth, some better numbers, and then some, not just numbers. Numbers is one thing, but then valid numbers. Like, is your number 2 very good and competing for that starting position spot? So if you have to sub somebody out or if you get some injuries, can you plug and play and still be a respectable defense or offense? So maybe Bowser makes a little bit of noise and improves on their win-loss record.
And I want to tap on that too, because Bowser is going to be okay because, now they got Dennis Hobson back over there as an athletic director. That means their basketball programs are going to improve on both the girls and boys. And what does that mean? More kids will be walking into that building. So they got a new principal as well. So it might be a whole new wave at Bowser.
Ready for a new champion, somebody to dethrone the Spartans in the City League. We'll see if that happens, but I was excited about it before. I'm still excited about it now. We're going to the NBC. I talked about Maumee. Did you see the jersey release video they did? Because I'm bought in. All right. If you go to our Twitter, go to Maumee Football's Twitter, go find that jersey release they did. I'm all in on Maumee. I'm bought in on the hype. Talk me off the Maumee ledge. Who else is in league in this NBC?
Right now I'm with you with
Let's go
with Maumee.
We're full in, baby.
I like their roster.
Yeah.
They have the pieces, the energy from the coaching staff.
Yes.
It is a new Maumee since week 1 last year. And I think that this is a team that they may not win the league. I mean, there's some pretty tough teams.
They're winning the league.
They're winning the league.
I'm bought in. The jersey video got me. There's no questions.
All right, so they're winning the league, but they're going, and in order to win this league, they got to be a little bit more consistent.
Right.
Last year they gave up a lot of touchdowns, like late game situations, and they kept games a little bit closer than they need to be. So it's all about finishing and execution. Right. And if we can see that from Maumee this year, and I think we will, you'll get what you're asking for.
All right, I'm going to turn to my right. Justin's going to humble me because he's going to talk about Oak Harbor. He's going to talk about Eastwood. He's going to talk about Genoa.
Yes.
You can't rain on my parade, but go ahead and try.
Real deal.
I got an umbrella.
So those 3 are legit. I'll give you some names. Evan Karcher from Maumee, Carson Grates, Cody Wolf, Keyshawn Midcalf, Will Kubitz, Ben Kubitz. All terrific. I think all of them could have fabulous years, but it might be an uphill battle. You got to take the steps, the baby steps. It's not like a one-hit wonder or you're going to be a flash in the pan and go from worst to first. That doesn't necessarily
huge
happen.
Culture change that Karcher had to infect.
Yes. So Oak Harbor, Michael Alon, Carson Ridner. They did lose 4 offensive linemen and 3 defensive line starters, but I think that they got a lot of guys who got a lot of key playing time, especially deeper into the postseason last year. Eastwood, Caden Donnell, Paul Latzenheiser. He's a disruptor. Latzenheiser. It sounds like a German IPA.
Disrupts your vocabulary.
Week 9, Eastwood at Oak Harbor. Huge game. That will be a deciding factor in the outright title possibly. And then Genoa 7-4 last year. 4 losses, all in close games to teams that eventually went 39-10. So they lost to very good teams. Now, you want to be a champion, you got to beat good teams, of course. But you got Dom Lindenberger, you got Alex Spencer, sophomore quarterback Myler Mollenhauer. I think Genoa can make some noise as well.
Yeah, a lot of those top 3 teams you just talked about, 59 returning letter winners for those 3 teams alone. So a lot of uphill battles. We talked about it. I'm bought and I'm on me. You can put me down right now. Win, lose, tie, I don't care. I'm on the Mommy hype train. I'm with you, Coach Karchner. What we're going to do right now, I know you've missed it all summer, talking about our top 20 male and female athletes of the BCSN era, and that's what we're going to get into this week. 𝗦𝗨 𝗦𝗨, a marvel on the tennis court in her time at Notre Dame, was the 22nd ranked prospect in the country, 2nd in Ohio in her time, a 4-time letter winner for the Eagles, 2-time state champion in 05 and 06. That's after taking 4th as a freshman in 2003, 3-time City League champion, 3-time Notre Dame team MVP, and helped the Eagles to a 3rd place finish her senior season in the OHSAA. Went on, played 2 seasons at Purdue, 2 seasons with Virginia. At Purdue was 25-10 in her singles career, 21-5 in her doubles career. A marvel, as I mentioned, on the court for Notre Dame. Had a successful college career, now back. And we just had the story air on Sports Nightly last night, so go check that out. Check it out on our social as it goes out today.
Yeah, BCSNNation.com. We'll have that, our newest addition to our Sports Nightly staff. Sherwin Shelton, by the way, did that story with 𝗦𝗨. And shout out to our sponsor, First Solar, who's been with us since January 1st as we've celebrated 20 years of BCSN all throughout 2024. But 𝗦𝗨 𝗦𝗨, it is difficult in a singular 1v1 sport like tennis to ascend all the way to the tippy top and be the best player in the state of Ohio.
Back to back, baby.
Yeah, exactly. Definitely valid of our recognition of a top 20 female athlete of the BCSN era.
Yep, one more shout out to 𝗦𝗨 𝗦𝗨, top 20 female athlete of the BCSN era. And I know you guys have missed this wipe. It's brand new. It's even prettier than it was before. It's our Game of the Week preview brought to you by Dunn Chevy in Oregon. Cisco, hit the wipe. All right, Game of the Week preview. It's the Battle of Sylvania. Northview hosting Southview. The new Renos at the stadium. It's going to be ready to go. We're going to be there. Justin's going to be there extra early for game day tailgate. Talk to me about this game, Mike Robb.
You know, is this the first year they're doing this week 1?
No, second.
Second year they're doing this week 1. Okay. I'm like, this game here week 1 is always a rivalry game week 1. It always caught me off guard watching Napoleon and Defiance play week 1 because I'm just like, it is so hard to prepare. Could you imagine Ohio State, Michigan playing week 1?
Yeah, that's a good point.
Like, that is a tough thing to do, because you don't have any film, scrimmages, they're all vanilla. So you really don't know what's happening here. And for Northview this year, they got a lot of work to do. They got a lot of work to do, but if they're going to get a chance to get at Southview, it's week 1. Right. This is their opportunity. They got a new running back in there, Rashawn Coley, coming from Rogers. He's there dominating, doing a good job offensively and defensively. And they got to find a way to be consistent on the ground. So the offensive line play from Northview is going to be extremely important in week 1. And for Southview, who are these new faces?
Yeah.
All right. So for this setup, here's the reason. You always try to look at the silver lining, in my opinion, when you've got some changes. So say it's in week 10. What if one of these teams is out of playoff contention, not a whole lot to play for except for the fact that you're playing your rival? This way, hey, it's a fresh start. It's like spring training in baseball.
Stars
Reasons
are ready
for
to play.
optimism across the board. 0-0, 7:05 kickoff on the NLL network powered by BCSN. Both teams are 0-0, so plenty to play for. So I'll take that. Quarterbacks in this one, Will Mazies for Southview, Connor Peja for Northview. Slight advantage to Mazies, I think. I think the difference maker in this, you say, who's a new face? Isaac Sexton gone. Insert Mo MacArthur. Coach Hardy is big on him. I saw him work. He's the guy that just keeps his mouth shut and puts in the work. my type of guy. So I think that he can be a difference maker in this one. Southview looking for 3 wins in a row in this one. As you stated, tailgate myself, Matt Kriegel, and new addition to the tailgate scene, Godfrey Lewis.
Bald is beautiful, baby.
That's right. Bald is beautiful. If you haven't seen those promo spots, check them out. I think 4,000 plus fans or more are going to be in this one. And I just think that Southview has less question marks. Yes, they lost a bunch of seniors from last year, but I think that they still had plenty of guys get tons of playing time last year in a variety of roles. It's just they've been on the field in one role. It's a slight adjustment to a new role for them. But I like the coaching staff. Coach Hardy told me that he likes his coaching staff, maybe the best one that they've had since he's been there as the head coach. So another key point to this one, who's more physical and who doesn't overhype everything because it's your rival going against kids that you've known since you were 5 years old in kindergarten in the Sylvania area. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to this one.
Yeah, and I love the environment, right? The whole new stadium. Northview's unveiling everything that's been worked on throughout the past few weeks, and they're hosting us for Game Day Nation Tailgate. What goes into the environment of coming into this rivalry game? Like, you talked about it in the season preview where they were like, hey, we've had this on our schedule. All we're thinking is beat Northview. All we're thinking is beat Southview. How do you carry that into the game and get all this hype ready?
You know, and it matters if you're from Sylvania, you know, because they pack this place out. I mean, I'm on the Sylvania Facebook groups, and you just see everybody talking about watch out for parking
My
here.
getting the tea.
You know, you got to get the tea now. And then also from some of the players, you know, one of the players from Northview, 𝗦𝗫𝗀 𝗡𝗶𝗵𝗵𝘁𝗹𝘆, like I said, he came from Rogers, and he was just asking me 2 nights ago. He's like, how do you get prepared for a rivalry like this? He's a senior. He's like, and I never, or I'm sorry, he's 26. He's like, and I never played in this game. So how do I get juice for this? I said, wait till game day.
Yeah. You feel it.
And you'll feel it. You won't need anything. And I'm like, and if you can't get going for that, man, that means your wood is wet. You know, you gotta find a way to spark up for this kind of a game, especially week 1.
And I think coaches told me that they let their players, seniors lead the charge in that.
Sure.
In some ways, if you're a coach and you have to give a rah-rah speech to get your team,
it's a bad sign.
You've already lost. You've already lost. So this game definitely senior laden, and it is the biggest game of a senior's career, a rivalry game in week 1.
7:05, Justin mentioned it, kickoff on the NLL Network. And we'll be right back to show you what else is coming up this Friday after a quick stop at B-Dubs. One more time. We'll be back in 30 seconds.
I've saved so much money enjoying Buffalo Wild Wings BOGO half-off Traditional Wing Tuesdays. I can finally afford everything I've ever wanted in life. Wings. All I ever wanted was more wings. So yeah, buy one, get one half-off Traditional Wings is the perfect deal for me and my lifetime yearnings. I value it more than literally anything. Buffalo Wild Wings. Let's go sports bar.
At participating locations, not valid with other offers or discounts. See website or app for details.
You want more wings, you go to B-Dubs. You want more football games, you come right here to BCSN. A whole slew this Friday. Yeah, we're busy.
Yes,
First
indeed.
off, like we said, Justin and the gang over at Northview for Game Day Tailgate. We've, of course, got our game of the week, Northview, Southview. Finley at Central, a huge week 1 matchup for both of those teams. Test your mettle. Hilliard Derby at A-Dub. We talked about Dublin Kaufman at Whitmer. Defiance Napoleon, another rivalry, week 1. Maumee Springfield, Rossford Northwood. Norwalk at Start, Clay at Sandusky, Bellevue at Clyde, Vermilion at Margaretta. I'm going to pass out somebody else talk. There's too many games.
Yeah, I love the fact that we got Hilliard Derby and A-Dub and Dublin Kaufman at Whitmer.
Yes.
In the past couple years, Central Ohio versus Northwest Ohio. Advantage Central Ohio.
Flipping the script.
Hey, Generals. Hey, Panthers. Let's turn that bus around.
Amen.
How about that?
Well, and it'll be turned around this year going into the playoffs. So this is the only shot that they get at these Central Ohio guys.
They'll be playing Cleveland area in the playoffs.
It doesn't get any easier in Division I, Region 1. So that's going to be tough there. But for Finley, this game right here, I'll be talking about all week on Twitter. Finley versus Central Catholic.
Huge.
Ryan Montgomery. This is it. This Mr. Football.
Show Georgia they made the right choice, right?
Mr. Football is up for grabs. It's a lot of good players out here, from Tavian St. Clair to Ryan Montgomery. Who's going to be the guy? Marquise Davis at Cleveland Heights. This is a marquee matchup for Ryan Montgomery. All eyes on him.
All right. All of those games going to be on the BCSN Plus app. Make sure you get that downloaded. And, of course, Game Day Nation on Friday. Mike Robb will be there. Justin will be doing tailgate stuff. And, by the way, you want this belt, better submit hashtag SSOTW stuff to Twitter at BCSN Sports. Follow at Justin Feldkamp, at Coach_Mike Robb, at Carnes Brandon, and, of course, at BCSN Sports. Come get yourself a belt. We'll see you next week.
Where's the football? You got to throw the belt.
Oh, I got to get the football. Week 2.
Don't throw the belt.